Hello everyone, welcome back to Creepaholics. I'm your host Shanice. This is part 2 of the Lindbergh baby. So, in part 1, I kind of realized after I posted it, I didn't add in my video clips for you guys. So, what I figured I would do is I'm going to play the video clips that coincide with part 1. And then once those are done, we'll continue with our story. We'll do a little bit of talk about the videos, and then in part 2, I have more videos that I will add in through. So why don't we get started with video clip number 1.
24-year-old Charles Lindbergh in 1926, the aviator's earliest known film footage. He's just a year out of Army flight training school and already dreaming of making history. Lindbergh wants to win a $25,000 prize for the first solo non-stop flight from New York to Paris. At stake is the future of air travel. Transatlantic ocean liners are safe and reliable, but slow. Planes are considered too dangerous. 6 pilots have already died attempting the 3,600-mile crossing. Long Island, May 20th, 1927. Lindbergh readies the Spirit of St. Louis, his $10,000 custom-built monoplane. Spectators have gathered to see him off. On board, he's packed 5 ham sandwiches to keep him going.
So that's just a little bit of his transatlantic flight. I just wanted to kind of play a little bit of the clip for you just so you could kind of get a little feel of what he did on that flight. So as you heard on that clip we just listened to, he took ham sandwiches with him. I guess he was a ham guy. So the next clip that I'm going to play for you was the clip that I originally should have played at the time of the kidnapping. So I just want you to kind of hear about what happened during that time and how like the news reported on it. I didn't really get a chance to put it in because I had so much information, and I kind of recorded it after my shift, so we can all say I was really tired, so I apologize for that. So here's the clip for you. Oh, sorry, that is the wrong clip. Oh, no, okay, and here you go.
32. Tragedy struck the lives of renowned Charles and Anne Morrow Lindbergh when their infant son was kidnapped from their Hopewell, New Jersey home and found slain. The crime set off a frantic manhunt and led to one of the most spectacular trials in national history. To the court came Lindbergh to face the accused, an illegal agent, one Bruno Richard Hauptmann.
So I kind of just went a little bit too far with that one. Just kind of forget the last line there. So now we're going to get into the video of when the baby was found. So if you remember, the baby was found on the highway. So this is the video that kind of tells you about when they reported on it.
Barely 4 miles from his home, where baby Lindbergh was found. Little body lying face downward in the underbrush, killed by those who kidnapped him. For 72 days, a worldwide search failed to yield any clues as to what had happened to the child. But for the accidental discovery of the body about 25 yards from the road, the baby's fate might never have been known. And here are William Allen, the colored man, and Orville Wilson, who made the discovery which shocked the world. Dr. John N. Condon, Japsy of the Bronx, and John H. Curtis. darkness and now making a copy of the latest picture of the Lindbergh baby. This picture was made less than 2 weeks ago. Each one of the silver darkness making a copy of his own parent.
And here are motion pictures of the baby taken by members of the family and given out by Colonel Lindbergh to aid the public in recognizing him. They are the only films ever made of the child, and only the gravity of the emergency led the colonel to depart from his well-known aversion to publicity in everything concerning his family and personal matters. When the baby was stolen, he was under the doctor's care, and Mrs. Lindbergh's chief fear was that his health might be neglected. Therefore, she issued an appeal to the kidnappers, saying that her baby has been ill and his recovery depended on the treatment he received. She pleaded with his captors to observe the strict diet which had been restoring the child to health. He is 20 months old. When stolen, he was dressed in a white sleeping suit. His hair is fair and curly. His complexion is light. He is able to walk a little and prattle a few simple words, such as a child just beginning to talk would know. He weighs about 30 pounds and is 2 feet 9 inches tall. He resembles his father, allowing for the chubbiness of his baby face. All America has demanded with one voice that the inhuman abductors of this innocent child shall not escape their just fate.
What do you get with Discovery Plus? Love. Smashing stuff. Cool people.
Sorry about that. So that was the end of the video that I have for you there. So now that I've played the videos that I missed because, apparently I don't remember stuff like that when I'm doing a podcast. I apologize, everybody. Oh, I also wanted to say before I start this, thank you all my new followers and all my new listeners. I'm very happy with my new station that I'm working with, so I'm happy that more people can listen. So anyways, why don't we get into part 2 of the Lindbergh baby kidnapping. So, after we left off, we were just going through how the baby was found by the truckers and how the 2 months old cause of death was a blow to the head. So now, without further ado, let's start creeping into the investigation. So, investigating factors of this famous kidnapping on March 2nd, 1932, a conference would be held with Attorney General FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover had contacted headquarters to the New Jersey State Police at Trenton, New Jersey, where he officially informed the organization that the U.S. Department of Justice would afford Colonel H. Norman Schwarzkopf, the superintendent of the New Jersey State Police, the assistant incorporation of the FBI in bringing the apprehension of the parties responsible for the kidnapping. He would advise that the New Jersey Police that they could call about the Bureau for any facilities or resources which in the latter might be capable of extending. During the next few weeks, the Bureau would act merely in an auxiliary capacity, but there would be no federal jurisdiction. On May 13, 1932, the President directed that all government investigative agencies should be available to dispose themselves to the state of New Jersey, and the FBI should serve as clearinghouse and coordinating agencies for all investigations in the case. On May 23, 1932, the FBI in New Jersey, that the Bureau was coordinating agencies for all government activity in the case, a close watch for ransom money was requested. On May 26, 1932, the New Jersey Police announced that after a reward not to exceed $25,000 for the information resulting in the apprehension and conviction of the kidnappers. In compliance by Colonel Schwarzkopf, copies of the note and reward were sent to the FBI and all law enforcement officials and agencies throughout the United States. On June 10, 1932, a waitress that the Lindberghs had employed at their home would sadly commit suicide. She committed suicide by swallowing poison, and this was actually when she was requested by authorities to come back in for a second round of questioning. But her movements on March 1st, 1992 had been checked out and cleared by the police. So I think they just wanted to talk to her again about it, but I think with finding the body of the infant and everything, I think it was a lot for her. She cared for the baby. It must have been heartbreaking for her. And I feel so bad that she had to commit suicide in order to deal with that. And that is not something everyone should do. Do not commit that route. please contact the Life Prevention Suicide Line. I'm telling you, there are people there that can help you. Anyways, I'm sorry, I always rant off on things like that. I just think it's a very important issue and everyone should stay on top of the signs. Anyways, on March 4th, 1932, a con man named Gaston B. Means was apprehended by Miss Evelyn Walsh McLean of Washington, D.C., claiming she might be a material assistant to Lindbergh Sr. in procuring and returning of his child. She soon was acquitted of these means performed to her husband some years before. Means informed her he was certain he could serve a contract with the kidnappers, as he claimed he was invited to be part of the kidnapping weeks before, and declined the offer. He successfully induced Miss McLean to hand him over $100,000 for ransom, which he soon said had doubled. It wasn't until April 17, 1932, Miss McLean would, when nothing worked, she would demand that she wanted her money back. But when he failed to do so, she would turn him over to the FBI. Means had the help of a man called the Fox, who was a disbarred Washington attorney. They were arrested and sentenced to 2 years. On May 2, 1933, the Federal Reservation Bank of New York had received 296 $10 gold certificates and one $20 gold certificate. All Lindbergh ransom notes. The bills were included among the currency received at the bank on May 1, 1933. It had been made out in one deposit. Upon this big discovery of bills, deposit tickets at the bank were exclaimed. The name that was written on the certificates was J. Faulkner, 537 West 149th Street, was marked on the gold certificate. $10 and $20 in the amount of $2,980, but the depositor was actually never located. So whoever this man was that brought all this money in and deposited it for the kidnappers, he was actually never found. So I don't know if he took the money and got away with it, or if he was the Scandinavian man named John that the doctor said he's seen. But, so that's the first new light of evidence that we have since the finding of the Lindbergh baby's body. So after more examination of the ransom notes, they were all written by the same person. Now, do you guys remember when I was reading the notes and it sounded like I was having a stroke? Well, there is a very good explanation for that. And remember how I told you that in the beginning? Well, that's because it would be written by a man of a German nationality. So don't worry, I wasn't going crazy. I wasn't having a stroke. This guy just really, he spent some time in America, but you could tell, like, he could not at all write. Like, maybe he didn't go to school in America. Maybe he didn't have much English learning, but as you guys all heard, it was very bad, and I felt like I failed grade 3. So, anyways, Dr. Condon described John as Scandinavian, as I said, and believes that he could identify the man. He viewed numerous photos and criminals that the FBI retained a sketch artist to draw. The FBI then retained a sketch artist to draw a portrait of John. So, in another interest to attempt to identify the kidnappers is centered around the ladder that was used in the crime. Now, in the beginning, I don't think the police did their job when they were searching. Like, look at how close the baby was to the home. There's this ladder that nobody decides to check until after the baby's body is found. I find that really suspicious, but let's continue. So the kidnappers is centered around the ladder used in the crime. Police then quickly realized the crudely built ladder was nothing less but familiar. The police are stupid. They should have done this in the beginning. I feel they failed in the search. The whole, premise, they did not search the whole freaking woods. And why not investigate the ladder upon discovery? I feel the police failed them, and I feel this could have not, I feel like it didn't have to go this way. I feel like they didn't have to lose this money. If the police would have did their job, they would have found out that night that the baby was injured. Who knows, maybe they could have saved the baby, or Maybe they could have found it out quicker. I don't know. But we'll get into the theories in the end, because I'm telling you, I have one that's going to blow your mind. So anyways, the ladder was exhumed, and surprise, fingerprints. Like, seriously? So the fingerprints were exhibited, and the builders and carpenters in neighborhoods of the Lindberghs in veins of silvers of the ladder were analyzed. The types of wood used in the ladder, they entitled an additional clues. So pretty much I got that out of the newspaper, so let me explain what that means. So the fingerprints that were exhibited, they were fingerprints of a builder or a carpenter. So they started going through the neighbors of the Lindberghs, and most of them, there was no search. But in the ladder, there were silvers used to construct the ladder, so that's what they started analyzing. So in early 1933, an expert was called in Arthur, not going to be able to say that last name, so I'm just going to call him Arthur K., of the Forest Service, United States Department of Agricultural. I have problems saying words like that. I had a bike accident when I was little, so I have a little bit of a lisp sometimes. So I apologize. So Arthur then disassembled the ladder and painstakingly identified the types of wood used and examined the tool marks and patterns made by the holes. The wood was used for inside construction. He visited the Lindbergh's estate and to the factories to trace some of the wood. His report would later play a big role in the kidnapping trial. So, on September 18th, 1934, at about 1:20 p.m., the assistant manager of the Corn Exchange Bank and Trust Company at 125th Street and Park Avenue, New York City, called the New York Bureau to advise a $10 gold certificate was discovered a few minutes by one of the tellers. It came from a gas line station located at 127th Street and Lexington Avenue, New York City, on September 15, 1934. The bill was received in payment for 5 gallons of gas. The attendant was suspicious and recorded on the bill the license plate number of the car. Smart gentleman. And guess what? It was registered to Bruno Richard Hauptmann. Hauptmann? I'm not really too sure how you pronounce that. Hauptmann. I'm not German, so we're just call him Bruno. So, 1279 East 22 2nd Street, Bronx, New York. Finally, someone with a brain. He should have been on the police force. Honestly, back then, he probably would have been the smartest person there. Anyways, FBI and police surveilled Hampton's house throughout the night of September 18th, 1934, until approximately about 9 a.m. September 19th, 1934. An individual, fitting the description of John, left the house, entered his car, and parked nearby. He was then taken into custody. So, I'm going to stop there, and before I continue, all this money that we're going to be talking about and everything, I kind of want to record the man that was taking care of the child at the time of the kidnapping, who then was dumb enough to avoid the police's, advice, took the money from Mr. Lindbergh, and gave it to this man, Bruno. So this is actually the video of his events throughout the kidnapping and what he actually did. So you're gonna like this.
With Dr. J.S. Compton wearing the derby hat, now rests the hope of baby Lindy's return. He first contacted the kidnappers and paid the $50,000 ransom. Dr. Condon has held many important meetings in his New York home. Jassy, as he is known, is extremely optimistic in his first newsreel interview.
I have been asked to say a few words concerning the most dastardly crime of modern times. Too much publicity has injured contact, partially, but nobody is going to give up. The American spirit that prompted Charles A. Lindbergh, the Lone Eagle, to cross the ocean and be a credit to America will find that the American people do not give up and that they are grateful for the high honor which he has cast upon our country. The baby will be returned, I hope, in a short time. We are in contact and nobody is giving up.
So, as you just heard there, he was the one that was in contact with the kidnappers. He was the one that was talking to them and everything, but he never actually did anything but just hand over money and let this man walk, which I found very disturbing. But I thought you would want to hear about that. So anyways, instead of me explaining the trial to you, I thought maybe you would want to hear the actual news clipping and the trial proceeding, and you get to hear Bruno talk. But before we get into that, let me give you a little bit of backstory of what happened and Bruno. So Bruno was found to be the man that they had been looking for when he was arrested. On his persons was a $20 gift certificate that was found, and then on September 8th, 1934, a pair of shoes was purchased as well. Bruno had only been in the country for approximately 11 years. He also admitted to several other purchases as well. On the night of September 19th, 1934, Joseph Perron was named the other man in the connection with the kidnapping the following day. $13,000 was found in secret in Bruno's garage. The Dodge sedan Bruno owned was identified as the car in the vicinity of the Lindbergh's home the day before the kidnapping. Bruno was 35 years old and a native of Saxton, Germany, with a criminal record of robbery, and spent some time in prison. July 1923, he stowed aboard the SS Hanover at Bremen, Germany, arrived in New York on July 13, 1923, and was arrested and deported back. Another attempt would fail in August. He would finally enter the United States in November 1923. October 20th, 1925, he married Anna Schaffler, a New York waitress, then had a son in 1933. His name was Manfred. In the spring of 1932, Bruno followed his occupation of being a carpenter. Short after, March 1st, 1932, was the date of the kidnapping. Pretty close, eh? So anyways, excuse me, I'm sorry. I poured myself a drink while we were listening to that last video. Anyways, that was the date of the kidnapping. So Bruno began to trade rather extensive stocks, and he actually would never work again. So now the trial and execution. So Bruno was indicted in the Supreme Court, Bronx County, New York, on charges of extortion on September 26, 1934. On October 8, 1934, in Hunterdon, County, New Jersey, was indicted for murder. 2 days later, the governor of the state of New York honored the requisition of the governor of the state of New Jersey for surrender of Bruno Richard Hauptmann. On October 19, 1934, he was removed and taken to Hunterdon County Jail, Flemington, New Jersey, to await his trial. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the kind of breakdown of the trial, and you guys are going to actually get to hear Bruno talk and a little bit of what the judges and everyone said in the courtroom, and then I'll give you my words on it. So they'll probably explain it maybe a little better. I know all the clips are a little bit old, but it was 1932, so I'm sorry they didn't have good microphones. Anyways, without further ado, here is your next video, or clip, I should say. Audio. There we go.
1932. Tragedy struck the lives of renowned Charles and Anne Morrow Lindbergh when their infant son was kidnapped from their Hopewell, New Jersey home and found slain. The crime set off a frantic manhunt and led to one of the most spectacular trials in national history. To the court came Lindbergh to face the accused. and illegal alien, one Bruno Richard Hauptmann. After 2.5 years of effort by District Attorney David Willens, Hauptmann, though he continued to deny his guilt, was finally trapped. $14,000 in marked ransom money, plus the identical wood used to construct the kidnapper's ladder, had been found in Hauptmann's garage. Lindbergh, the man who shunned cheap notoriety, and his grieving wife had been thrust into the headlines. New Jersey's District Attorney David Willens and his staff conducted their burdensome assignment amid a wave of morbid public curiosity. Defense counsel Edward Riley led his staff in an equally difficult task, ever hampered by public hysteria. Hauptmann was pronounced guilty, and the Lindbergh case again hit the headlines. A defense appeal was rushed to the state capitol at Trenton, where the prosecution fought to uphold the death penalty. Hauptmann's defense attorneys faced documented proof of their client's guilt. In addition, mass hysteria was almost making a mockery of a deadly serious situation, which had brought death to a child, bitter grief to his parents, and which now meant life or death to the condemned. Flashes on the progress of Hauptmann's appeals and stays of execution came streaming over America's radio networks. Reporters, duty-bound to give to the public the news, were themselves almost swamped by the clamor for information.
Yeah, it's Clappy. Clappy, that's Clappy. Yeah. Who wants me to dead? Oh, yeah, what? No, just ask the governor's house. Not a thing yet. Can't get anything one way or the other about that reprieve.
At last, the long-awaited final decision on the Hauptmann case came in. New Jersey's Governor Holman, at a special meeting, had denied a stay of execution. Too much evidence, including the testimony of the courier of the ransom money, Dr. John Japsy Condon, had doomed Hauptmann. On April 3rd, 1936, Bruno Richard Hauptmann was electrocuted at Trenton. Thus ended a case that ranks among the grim milestones of the century.
If you want to sell online...
Oh, shut up. Sorry. Most of these clips I'm getting off YouTube, so as we all know, YouTube sucks with all their wonderful ads. So, anyways, as you kind of heard there, hopefully it wasn't too choppy for you. If it was, I do apologize. But let me explain a little bit in my words of what kind of happened in that video. Or clip. Audio. Oh, I'm going to keep screwing that up today. I worked a long shift today, and I worked really hard. I work at an industrial filter manufacturing company, and I'm actually a material handler, so I do a lot of pushing and pulling, and I was working in the warehouse all day today, and I just wanted to come home and kind of give you guys a little taste of this, so I do apologize if I don't have my usual pep and stride in my videos, but I promise you the next one will be so much better because we're actually going to be doing our new segment. And I would reveal to you what the name of it is, but I kind of want to leave that as a little bit of a surprise for you. Also, too, my next video I'm going to be doing live. So hopefully you guys will call in and talk to me, and we can kind of chat on air and maybe have a little bit of a live discussion. So, anyways, let me get back to our trial here. I'm skipping ahead to my end talk. Let's just say I'm a little bit excited to talk to a few of my new viewers. So, anyways, the trial began on January 13th, 1935 at Flemington, New Jersey. The trial lasted for 5 weeks. The case was based against him on circumstantial evidence. The tools that matched the markings on the ladder were owned by Bruno, and they were then found in his garage. Dr. Condon's phone number and address were found scrawled on a door frame inside of his closet. The handwriting on the ransom notes matched the samples of Bruno's handwriting. It was on February 13th, 1935 that the jury would return with a verdict, which we all know he was found guilty in the murder of first degree. Then he was also sentenced to death. Then, as you heard, the defense appealed on October 9th, 1935 to the Supreme Court of New Jersey, who upheld the verdict, and Bruno was denied on December 9th, 1935, when he was to be electrocuted on January 17th, 1936. However, on the same day, the governor of the state of New Jersey granted a 30-day reprieve, and on February 17th, 1936, Bruno was resentenced on March 30th, 1936. The parting court of the state of New Jersey denied Bruno's petition for clemency, and on April 3rd, 1936, at 8:47, the son of a bitch was electrocuted. So, the Lindberghs would actually spend their remaining years in Hawaii, where Lindbergh would die of cancer in 1974 at the age of 72, and was buried in Kipahulu on the island of Maui. And Anne Lindbergh died of pneumonia during a visit to her daughters, Reeves' family, in 1999 when she came down with pneumonia, after which she then lived near Reeve in a small home built on Reeves' Passaic, Vermont farm, where she died at the age of 94 in actually only 2001, following another stroke. So anyways, I kind of would keep going with a little bit more of the theories, but before I do that, I have another video for you, which is actually a clip of Anne Lindbergh, and it's titled, "You'll Have the Sky." So this is actually dedicated to her baby and her thoughts and feelings of how she felt, and a little bit of what she did after.
6 months after the murder of Charles Jr., a second boy, John, was born. Somehow, life moved on. In September of that year, Anne and Charles flew to join her family at the Morrow summer home on the island of North Haven in Maine. Anne took the controls for the last emotional lap of the trip.
It is still there. It is all there. These islands sweeping out to sea, these islands floating on the top of the world, spilling over the edge of the world. They are all here, beautiful and still, spread flat before me, as they were the year before, and many years before, as they would be always. Daddy had died since last year, and the baby, I'm glad he lived in this beauty for a while. And I was happy, as though I had recovered them for a moment, as though I had recovered everything ever lost, as though I had everything worth having. If I could only have this height always. But we were coming down now. The pine trees were near and familiar, everyday and human. I was coming down into the world again, the human world. The wind was cold on my face, and I had been crying.
And Morrow Lindbergh's writing, beyond its clarity and its beautiful language, speaks to women, speaks to men and women. Generations later, her gift was that she could really capture the universality of her personal experience.
So, that was a little bit of Anne's writing for you there. But yeah, all I can really say is that the police didn't really do their job. They should have, in the beginning, searched the whole freaking area, did their job. Like, to me, they baffle me. But, that's kind of all I really have for you about that. But why don't we get into the theory I told you about? So, there's this guy that claims Charles Lindbergh Jr. did not die. He claims he is Charles Jr. and he is alive. And this was actually posted 8 years ago. So, you're going to want to listen to this.
Yes, my name is Charles Lindbergh Jr. I'm age 82. And you may be puzzled why I'm alive. But this is me, Charles Lindbergh. I'm alive. And in the October 3rd, 2004 Los Angeles Times production is an article by Pulitzer Prize-winning author Michael D'Antonio, and I suggest that you get that copy.
What was it entitled? The name of the story?
Is the Lindbergh baby alive?
Okay.
Okay.
When were you first aware that you really were the Charles Lindbergh Jr. baby?
1937.
Tell us more about it.
In 1937, I was taken from the Capone house to El Dorado, Kansas, to a ranch house owned by Charles Sigmund. He was a famous bootlegger in Butler County, Kansas, well known and well respected too by many people. He took me to his house, and I was kept there incarcerated for approximately 18 months. And I was not allowed out of the house at any time. I was not allowed on the tarmac where the trucks pulled in because it was an oil driller. And they had a huge asphalt yard where the trucks came in and turned around and unloaded their oil. And so I was kept there, and I didn't eat the best food, but it was hot.
How many times would you believe you were moved around in your childhood?
22 times. 22 different times. Up to 1943. And that's when I went to San Luis Obispo, where I was turned over to a family who was a minister. And his mom and dad lived in Wichita, Kansas.
What was the name of that family?
Husted, Husted.
Okay.
And they were very nice people. Okay.
Charles, why do you think that your family supposedly has a conspiracy as to the kidnapping and ultimate murder of you? Why do you suppose that happened?
I think they're protecting the fact that my mother, Ann Lindbergh, Ann Morrow, she had been selected to be the navigator for my father on his flights around the country, to sit alongside of him and do his navigation. So to do that, he sent her to navigation school in San Diego, and the Prince of Navigation was Harold Gatty, who ran the school. Well, Harold Gatty and her had a very intimate affair in which she tells in her diary that she got pregnant, and she hid the pregnancy from Colonel Lindbergh.
What was the name of that book, that diary?
Hour of Lead and Hour of Gold. And you can probably buy it through the internet. Okay. She tells in her diary that the pregnancy was me, and that she was hiding the fact that she was pregnant from the colonel.
What attempts have you made to try and get DNA from your family?
Endless attempts. And they have absolutely refused to cooperate. In fact, Reeve Lindbergh told me...
Who is Reeve?
Reeve is his sister, my sister. And Reeve told Vladimir Kovalik...
Who is Vladimir Kovalik?
Vladimir Kovalik, he is a Stanford fellow of John Lindbergh, my brother. And he is a Russian scientist. He has a KGB clearance to Moscow.
Okay.
And he told us told my wife and I that Reeve said Charles didn't grow up with us. We don't owe him anything. We're not going to accept him.
So they acknowledged
those are his very words. You know?
Have you ever been with anyone as a witness that's seen or heard you in front of your family?
Oh yeah, Wayne Sparks.
Okay.
Okay. I'd like to introduce Wayne Sparks. He's a friend of ours of 25 years, of my wife and I. And Wayne, I'm introducing you. He's also a certified bodyguard of Charles Lindbergh and Morrow Lindbergh.
Wayne, tell us a little bit about your experience with Charles.
Well, I've been with Charles for over 22 years as his personal friend and bodyguard. I've been taking Taekwondo since I was 19. I have a concealed weapons permit, and I've traveled with him in Ottawa over the years, trying to get the family to cooperate on the DNA for his identification. We did make a trip to Connecticut to see his mom, and
approximately when did you do that?
I don't remember what year it was, 1998.
Okay.
We went to the house and walked up the driveway, and the lady taking care of his mother was warming the car up to take her to the doctor. And when she saw us coming up the driveway, she hollered out, "Your sister said you cannot see your mother." That's exactly what she said. Acknowledged the fact that Charles is the son of Ann Morrow. And I had a camera with me, and I was taking a movie of the house and stuff, and she kept putting her hands up. She was going to take my camera. She didn't want me to take pictures of the house.
Okay.
And so Charles says, "You're not taking this camera away." And Charles did have a great big bouquet of flowers for his mother, which we never was able to give to her.
Okay.
And we left after that. Went back to the place we were staying. Charles called the police department, and the police department says, "If you go near that house again, we'll arrest you and throw you in jail." Said, "The best thing for you to do is get out of town."
Okay. Thank you. What is your expectation? What is your hope to come from this interview?
To come from this interview with the public
Yes.
is for the public to reach out to me for more information and to become interested without end to the making a very valid production and film production and movie production that tells the whole story of what happened and how it happened. Trying to let the world know that I am alive, okay, and that I'm alive, and that I want to clear myself with a long last question, and that is, what happened in the Lindbergh case? I'm alive, and
Do you have additional information you can provide in the future about this?
And I have additional information that I can provide, and that's valid and true. And I want my siblings to know that I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop this situation. I'm not going to stop this situation and progression of breaking my identity to be true and to the point, because my siblings don't want that to happen. They don't want the colonel to be to have his legacy embarrassed. Okay. The fact of it is, I'm alive, and he is wrong in protecting himself from me. This has been going on for a long time. He orchestrated my kidnap when he found out that my mother was pregnant with me. And he didn't want a bastard kid hanging around his doorstep while he went on to have many affairs with other women, and even children with other women. So I'm just telling you now, I'll provide you whatever your request.
Do you have a birth certificate with your name?
I have a birth certificate with my name that's valid. I have a valid California driver's license, and I'm well known by many people for being straightforward and honest.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you.
When babies start to move, ordinary diapers.
So that last part was not part of, well, it was an advertisement, but I did not mean to put that in there. So anyways, this man claims to be Charles Lindbergh, so that was his story. I'm not really going to say anything about that because I'm pretty sure he covered a lot of that for you guys. So I hope you enjoyed that. I kind of just wanted to go through a little bit of the comments that were on it. So there was apparently a Smithsonian documentary noted that Bruno Hampton was a German who was here illegally, and when they dug into his past, he just committed the same crime in Germany and got away with it. So he apparently did this before. There was another one that said the New Jersey governor secretly visited Hampton because of his doubts of his guilt. Sadly, this was true. So I just kind of wanted to go through a little bit of that with you, and I hope you found that interesting. But that is everything that I have for you for the most famous case known to American history, the missing baby of the Lindbergh family. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed that, and if you have any comments or, if you have theories about what you think happened, email me, Facebook me, go on my Patreon page, send me a message, let me know, let's have a conversation about it, let's, talk about this. I'm also going to post up these videos on my Facebook page as well, so if you want to head over to Creepaholics, you can also check out the Facebook pages. So anyways, let's get into our things. So thank you to all my new supporters. I appreciate all my new listeners. If you would like to also help with any future productions, or, you just want to send some general support, just for $5 a month would help this podcast go a long way. So, I also got some new merchandise set up on my Patreon. I know I got 2 of them going right now for some reason. There's a fake one that someone tried to make, so I'm trying to get that taken down right now. But just send me a message first before you try to buy something, just in case you're buying off of a different site, because the one you should be going to is patreon.com/creepaholics. So hopefully you find the right one. Anyways, send me an email at creepaholicsversusshanice@gmail.com, or head to my Facebook page, Creepaholics, and, shoot me a message. Let's have a chat. So, like I said earlier, my next episode is going to be a live episode, possibly. I haven't done one yet, so I think I have everything ready for it. If not, then it'll just be a regular uploaded episode. I just need to find time to do it, to be honest, because I kind of just don't want to hop on for a little bit and then just, have to hop right off because I work the next day. So, just to let you know, our next episode is going to be the Great Maple Syrup Heist. So that will be episode 13, and yes, I am from Canada, so I figured why not do one from my country. So anyways, Creepaholics fans, that is everything I have for you for part 2 of the Lindbergh case. So please have a wonderful night and stay safe, and, if you think something, weird's going on, or someone's attempting to kidnap someone or do some ransom, call the police, let the FBI know, or maybe if you're in an investigation and you think you need to go check something out, why don't you follow your hunch and do it? Because who knows, maybe you would save a lot of people a lot of heartache. So, anyways, my Creepaholics fans, have a wonderful day, and creep it real till next time.
Love this podcast? Support this show through the Acast supporter feature. It's up to you how much you give, and there's no regular commitment. Just click the link in the show description to support now.